we restarted it so that we've put teams together now. So this is another actual consumer or business benefit, you know, condo builders even. We put these teams back together so you can get your inspections done, your plumbing inspection, your carpentry, your electrical, and your vent all at one time. Where it used to be sporadic. The plumber might come out on a Tuesday and the electrician wouldn't come out till next Wednesday. Obviously, and especially now, as you said, Alderman, in this environment, time is absolute money. And if we can't get these inspections done in a timely fashion, we're really imperiling potentially the viability of the project. So C of O teams have been recreated, and that's, again, for the larger buildings, and that's also done online now.
Tell us, what about buildings, in particular residential units of less than 4 units? What kind of assurance does the general public have that, you know, that we're providing them with some safeguards that the building follows code?
Right. Well, in this case, I mean, it really is up to the, and again, you can get all this information on our website, but it is up to the homeowner to make sure that if they have a general contractor, the general contractor will know what permits are needed and what inspections are needed.
And that's why it's critical, folks, to the Commissioner's point. Make sure that you're dealing with licensed individuals. At the time of purchase, if you're thinking of purchasing a unit, you should be inquiring of this information, because if you discover that these individuals do not have that, they cannot produce it, my advice would be not to buy that unit.
Agreed.
Because all you're going to be doing is opening up a can of worms, so to speak, and you know, you hear so frequently about, you know, folks, again, buying properties that, you know, unfortunately make a huge investment, and then they don't get what they bargained for.
Exactly.
But that's why we have these protections in place. Obviously, we have an enforcement wing also of the Department of Buildings, where if we do catch one of these offenders, there is a process where there's you know, some recourse through the judicial system. We have about 2 minutes left. We're going to have to bring on the Commissioner again because there are so many different topics, but real quick. So we've been talking about consumer protection from the perspective of the owner or prospective owner of the property. What about folks who live next to an ongoing project?
Yes.
And I'm afraid that, you know, they're going to do something to my property. What do you recommend there briefly?
If that's the case, they call our office directly, and I'll give that. It's 743-9021 would be how you get to me or one of my top folks, because you know, if that's sort of an imminent and dangerous situation, Alderman, that we'd want to know about right away, because there have been a lot of cases, unfortunately, where the neighbor's foundation, for example, has been compromised due to improper shoring by the construction work next door. So I mean, you could obviously call 311 still, but if it were me and I had this number, which is our main number, which is given out, but 743-9021 would get you right to the executive office, and we would get a inspector out there like that day.
What would you recommend to folks to look for? I mean, as you know, sites, there's a protocol in terms of the way that construction sites should be managed.
Yes.
There should be some fence,
Correct.
wiring, wire fence, mesh. Permits should be posted in a place where people can easily view them.
Yes.
Contact information. What else? What else should they be looking for?
Well, you're absolutely right. Look for the permit, because if you don't see the permit, that's a pretty good indicator that it's probably a non-licensed, non-permitted job.
Or someone who is not going to be paying attention to detail.
Good point.
And
probably doesn't
doesn't
have insurance.
And so let's say that I have a question. Let's say it's not an emergency situation.
Right.
Let's say I have a question. This building looks like maybe it's a little too tall, or maybe the building's a little too long.
Right.
In the age of technology, what do? They're telling me wrap it up, shoot the email, shoot a picture to cityofchicago.org buildings. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry for cutting it so short like this. We're going to have you back on the program again, Commissioner. Thank you so much. All righty. Thank you so much for joining us on another segment of the First Ward Chronicles. Have a great evening.